If you don't know this information, you can visit the House of Representatives website, and they have a utility to help identify what your particular congressional district is. You may need that for this field, and then there's a later congressional district field that you may want to examine as well. Moving on down, we have the project or award information box. Once again, we have a context field in the upper right. This means that there's additional information for these to help you complete this information. The first code is the first field that needs to be completed in this box is the funding agency code. If you know the code, you can just key it in. If you don't, you can click on the pair of binoculars to the right, and a separate window will open up, and it identifies a listing of the codes for each of the agencies. Now, these aren't just the top-level federal agencies, but these also include sub-level federal agencies, and there, as you can see, there are quite a few of those. 1,179 in this list. There are a couple of tricks for moving through this and getting through this a little bit more quickly. You can sort by agency code; those are in order, and that's the default condition for how you see it now. You can also alphabetize the agency names, and also you can determine how many results per page you see. So if we scroll over to the results per page section, drop down to a larger number of results, even all, pull those up, you'll see that we get an entire list. It's a very long list, but there are a couple of tricks for going through this. You can use the alphabetized option, which will put these in alphabetical order for you. You can also, if you click Control F, and why don't we do that? We'll click Control F. You can look for a specific keyword. In this case, let's put in aging, and it will highlight. It will move down and highlight the first field, the first value that includes that key term. If you click on Next, it will go to the next, and you can move through in that fashion and hopefully find your agency a little bit quicker. In this case, it identified Administration on Aging, and that will be the agency that we're reporting on. So we'll go ahead and click on that, and that will pre-populate our field. Now the next field is Awarding Agency Code. In this case, it's the same as our Funding Agency Code, and in many cases it'll be that way, but it's not necessarily the case. The distinction is the funding agency is the organization, the federal organization, the federal agency that received the funds through the Recovery Act. They were the agencies that got the funds as part of the Recovery Act. The awarding agency is the agency that actually distributed the funds to you as a recipient. Now, in many cases, that's going to be the same agency, but in some cases in the federal government, agencies will transfer funds to another agency to administer for them on their behalf. So in that case, you may have different numbers in this case. The next field is the program source code, and we'll click on the lookup box on this one as well. And this will bring up a screen. This is another very long list. Not as bad as the last one. We only have 300, and we will 309, but we can either key in the number on the program source field, source code, or we can expand the listing over to the results per page. In this case, we know the number, so we'll just close the window and we'll go back and manually enter in the number. Okay. Now, the sub-account number for the program source, this is an opportunity to add additional detail to the program source code. This is optional. If you have it, it can provide additional granularity into the program source for it. But if you don't, the first field, the preceding field, is sufficient. The next field is the catalog of financial domestic assistance number. In this, we have that number as well. So we're just going to key that in. Okay. There's a drop down for that. Well, let's go ahead and look at the drop down too. We'll pull that up and we'll show you all the pieces in this. So this isn't nearly as long. It's 183. Still a lengthy list, but not so bad. We know our number, so we keyed that in. We'll close the window. The next field is the amount of the award. Okay, the award date it was issued, and then a description. All right, the next section identifies the total number of subawards that these are the relatively smaller subawards that are less than 25,000. How many there are, and then how much the dollar value is. Then there are the total number of subawards to individuals and the total value of those, and then the total number of payments to vendors less than $25,000 per award, and then the total number of those, and then the total value of those. And in this case, in this particular example, we don't have any for any of those fields, and 0 is a valid value for each of those. And the next section is the project information. We enter in the project name or program title for the award. The next field, we identify the activities for that particular quarter, what happened within that project for that particular reporting period. The next field is the project status. And you have four general high-level roll-ups of that: not started, less than 50%, completed 50% or more, or completely done, fully completed. So we'll select one for this. The next field is the total amount of funds that have been received. This is in contrast to the amount of funds that have been awarded. This is how much has been drawn down. The next field describes the number of jobs. This is there's guidance in MO9 in the memorandum MO9 21 that describes how to estimate the number of jobs. This is in the number of jobs, you estimate how many were created or saved as associated with this award, and then a description of the jobs created and a description of your method for generating that estimate. The next field is identifies your activity codes associated with this. These are we'll go ahead and click on the lookup. There are many activity codes associated with this. These would either be included as part of your award documentation or would be available through your agency. You need to be in communication with your agency to get these. These identify the activities associated with the awards, and you have the ability to include up to 10 on this. So we'll enter those. Okay. Next, we enter in the total amount of the Recovery Act expenditure for this particular field. The next field identifies the amount of infrastructure expenditure within the Recovery Act itself, and in MO921 there are descriptions about specifically looking for additional information on infrastructure investments. In this particular case, this sample award that we're working from does not have a specific infrastructure investment component to it. But if you did have an infrastructure investment, you would put it in here. You could either leave this field blank or 0 if you don't, and then a description of what the purpose and rationale for that infrastructure investment is. And you'd want to look at MO921 and possibly the Act itself to get additional detail into what and how that would form.